Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Hello, thank you for watching my videos. It's Mike. It's March 11th, 2009. Okay, after last night's make you think moment, I thought I would go back now to the news. But as an aside to last night, actually I'll save this to the end. Yes, apparently Barack Obama gave our Prime Minister Gordon Brown a rather sucky set of DVDs as a present for thanking him for visiting the White House. Whereas we gave, the Brits gave the United States President something of true value, something quite unique. I'm thinking they just don't know what they're doing there in the White House, and perhaps this episode will sort things out. And the next time we go over there, we'll actually get a decent present. I don't know. Give us something good, will you? Something of value. Because the way the economy's going, we may have to sell it. However, someone sent me a couple of links, and I've linked an article from the Telegraph, a blog from the Telegraph. Basically, Glenn Beck coming out and saying, "Okay, everyone, write to the British Embassy. Here's the address, and write, you know, something along the lines of, they don't suck. We appreciate you." But make it a little more flowery than that. Quite true. He made an interesting point about the fact that the DVDs are NTSC Region 1 DVDs, and of course we have a completely different television system over here. So, but never mind. Most people in this country have multi-standard, multi-region DVD players, or I'm sure. Actually, what we could do to get them back is. I'm sure Downing Street is right now ripping all the DVDs to AVIs and will merrily be seeding them everywhere in torrents. So if you're looking for these movies, I bet they'll become much more prevalent and available on the internet. And of course, this other blog here also has something that wasn't sent to me, which is Jon Stewart's take on the Brown visit, which I found remarkably humorous, and so I thought I'd start the day with something funny. News. What's been happening in the news over here? What are we reporting on over here? Okay, well, the first thing is advertising is slumped with papers and so forth, and leaves Britain's local newspapers in crisis. So a lot of the local newspapers are all owned by one media group, called a Guardian Media Group, and they're all at risk of closure after the family-controlled parent company descended into administration. So, I mean, they do papers all over the United Kingdom, and some of them they give away, they give away advertising, they give it away free sort of thing. So it pops through my door here once a week, and I've noticed, yeah, one of them's disappeared. I only get one of the local free newspapers now. The other one just seems to have poof gone. Never mind. So it's a bad thing, but. You know, this is the thing about business. Gotta keep it real. Investors braced for Bank of England's £2 billion spending spree. Okay, so investors are waiting for the first round of quantitative easing, which starts today. Actually, it started. Actually, it starts this afternoon. Which should be quite interesting. Yes. So the first auction is what's called a non-competitive auction. So basically, the government will come out and say, okay, we're going to give it to you at this price, what do you think? And if they take it, it's great. Then following on at about 2:15, so a couple of hours from now, then they're going to get into the reverse auction stage, which should be very interesting to see what people do when they're buying the British gilts now. Anyway, so it's all a guessing game as to what's going to happen with the latest round of quantitative easing. But the Bank of England is hopefully going to be okay with this, and hopefully the investors will say, yep, that's okay. You're not being that stupid. Okay, Bernie Madoff. So this was news, came out yesterday. Bernie Madoff faces potential 150 years in prison after lawyer confirms he is likely to plead guilty. 11 charges, alleging a $50 billion racket. Crimes unprecedented in scale, says prosecutors. Okay, so Carl Denninger, on his blog on Market Ticker, he's been going on about this concept called the Bezzle. So I'm going to link an article to the Bezzle, and what is the Bezzle, and it's an interesting concept about you know, basically all the dodgy stuff that goes on inside economies, and most of the time when economies are booming, you get a lot of this building up. It's normal. It's not nice, but it's normal. And then at the end, you got all this junk sitting there that isn't real, and how do you get rid of it? And how do you get rid of it effectively without taking down the economies of the world? Well, the Bezzle seems to have grown dramatically, and so Denninger is calling for everyone to, you know, just get it sorted. Anyway, so that's cool, that's good. So that means that things are starting to happen. Now over here in England, we've got a similar kind of situation going on. The Telegraph today reported failed banks' toxic debt generated by massive mortgage fraud. And this is the 8 people arrested I mentioned yesterday. Well, they've arrested someone else now, so there's 9 people so far. Now, who are these people? One's a bank employee, one's a solicitor, one's a property developer, and 2 are mortgage brokers. So it was a big scheme to get money. So anyway, hopefully they'll get tossed in jail for a while. But there's lots of these. Basically, the police came out and said, a source said, this is the tip of the iceberg that is melting very rapidly. So this is the Bezzle coming out. It is an iceberg of titanic proportions. There are half a dozen cases of this that Bradford and Bingley have been dealing with. And I bet the other banks are too, quietly cleaning up this mess. Interesting. Now, I of course like music. I love music. I like listening to music a lot. Auto-tune. I never heard of this because basically it's just like, yeah, whatever. Wash over me. Pop music, most of it is all... I mean, I like it, but, you know, what I really go for is like old classics and things like that. But anyway, but some of it's good. Some of it's quite good. So it's quite nice. But anyway, I've got an article from Time magazine. Auto-tune, why pop music sounds perfect. Basically, this is technology called Auto-tune. It's a piece of software, plugs into a very common audio editing systems, and lets you modify the pitch of someone's voice as they're singing, and gets it right to whatever note it should be right away. Now you can play with it quite a bit. You can, you know, have lots of fun with it, and some artists have done this. Cher, most notably, on her Believe song. So when she's singing there's one word "so" and it goes through about 3 different notes all at once. It's quite cool. Anyway, but most artists are now using this, and you see people complaining that AOL are doing this when they have their live sessions, things like that. So anyway, but so if you've never heard of Auto-tune, it's an interesting thing. There's also a podcast attached on the left-hand side, sort of buried in the article, where you can actually listen to an explanation of all of that and some examples of how it's used and not used. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. A couple of fast ones. Last shopping mall, New Jersey awaits Xanadu. So this is a great big huge mall going to be opening shortly. Are they mental? Just close it. My gosh. No, they're going to make everyone suffer a bit before it collapses into a great heap. So I've got an article linked from Time and also an article from Wikipedia, so you can find some background information on this thing. It's huge. It's the 3rd largest mall in the world. 4.5 million square feet of entertainment, sports, retail, office, and hotel space. It's massive. They're nuts if they think they're going to get enough people going in there. Anyway, some good news. Woolworths. Of course, over here, a lot of the Woolworths, they're all closed. Some of them are reopening. The ones that were actually in profitable locations are being reopened, and I've got a story here. Former Woolworths manager reopens closed store as Wellworths. And there were locals are already calling it Wellies, as opposed to Woolies. Anyway, that's cool, good. £2,500 handout to scrap your old car. Article from Daily Mail. Ministers back scheme to kickstart motor industry. So this, basically, they're thinking in the UK they're going to do this. Although I don't know where they're getting the money from. At the moment, the UK has put about 20% of its GDP back into banks and industry and stuff, and it's getting to a point where it's going to fall over in a great big heap on them. Anyway, but it's a good article, and some interesting pictures of cars stacked up at the docks, which is happening all over the world. They're just not publicizing it. In fact, there's even one outfit in Malmo that has rented out one of the great big transport ships, shipping transports, and they're storing cars in the boat, docked at Malmo Harbor, port, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and to finish off, the fear. This is what's out there right now. And people don't know what's going on or what's going to happen with the economy and with their jobs and unemployment and everything. And everybody's getting really worked up. And some people don't even realize that this is washing over them. So I've linked a video called The Fear from Lily Allen, which is really, really interesting. It's affecting people in all kinds of weird ways, and people are doing things they wouldn't normally do, and people are getting really stressed. So it's important to relax and know we will get past this. It will just be bumpy along the way. Okay, folks. Oh yeah, yesterday's video. Yeah, the Zeitgeist thing. Yeah, I know about Zeitgeist. I know it's all a bunch of crap, but there's some concepts in there that are really key about greed and how humans live, and think about how we can change that whole attitude to get to a more natural and sustainable kind of life. I don't know. I mean, the Wellworths thing is a really good case in point. They're going to be using local suppliers, and most of what they're selling isn't imported. It's all community generated. So those are the kind of things you can think about. You know, how can we help this community here? How can we help where we are? Okay, peace, love, understanding. Think about things. I'll speak to you again later. Bye.